Climate protection didn't just start with our mayors yesterday. I could take you back when mayors joined with Senator Gaylord Nelson and others in creating the very first Earth Day in 1970. On that day, we had the nation's mayors standing together in a bipartisan effort with the great New York City Mayor John Lindsay to support our efforts and our goals. No, I won't take you back that far, but I must take you back to 2005 and salute the great mayor of Seattle, Mayor Greg Nickels. It was his call to action to create a United States Conference of Mayors climate agreement. Following the Kyoto meeting in 2005, our government was not in a position to ratify an international climate agreement. 141 nations signed that agreement. On that day, Seattle Mayor Greg Nickels launched the initiative to advance the goals of the Kyoto Protocol through leadership and action by at least 141 American mayors to sign our climate protection agreement. We met his goals, we did it, and we didn't stop there. I worked hard with mayors to create a dynamic United States Conference Mayors Climate Center. Our goal was to have at least 1,000 mayors, unheard of before, signing our climate agreement. Conference President Burnsville Mayor Elizabeth Kautz led our organizations to meetings with the European Union. They replicated a similar agreement, and the Mayor of Mexico City led an effort to do the same in Latin America. Other organizations around the world have duplicated and followed us. In Copenhagen at COP15, we arrived with 1,000 mayors signed onto our climate agreement. While national leaders met in the main conference hall and did not reach an agreement, the United States Conference of Mayors sponsored an event honoring the Lord Mayor of Copenhagen and joined with mayors of London, New York, Los Angeles, Burnsville, and other mayors from around the world to continue to share best practices, to take action in the world's cities, even though our own national governments are stalled. But you know, it's more than just signing a proclamation or an agreement. It's doing something about it. And we have today the support of the Walmart Corporation, a dynamic awards program which for a decade brings the city's best practices front and center. We also have a partnership with Philips, and through their support, we continue to release reports and findings which validate what mayors are doing with their citizens on climate and energy each day. Today, with the leadership of Bridgeport Mayor Bill Finch and Carmel Mayor James Brainerd, who chair our climate task force, our climate center is as strong as it ever has been. While other leaders talk, mayors walk. And each day, our mayors are involved with our citizens, cutting carbon, using alternative fuels to save our planet. We're pleased that President Obama has appointed the Climate Task Force. We, the United States Conference of Mayors, will continue to lead on climate protection. And we appreciate our federal government joining with us as we continue to act daily with our business communities and our citizens to save this planet for us, our children, and our grandchildren.
The U.S. Conference of Mayors recognizes how critical mayors are to the work around climate change and climate protection.
Having the conference be able to be the convener of the nation's mayors is really powerful.
We all know that climate change is happening. We can argue about the cause of climate change, but climate change is happening. The city of Houston has reduced its greenhouse gas emissions by more than 32% since 2007 when we began to track it. I don't spend a lot of time talking about how we are reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I talk about how we are reducing costs.
For cities, streetlights are easy. They're low-hanging fruit because when you replace traffic lights or street lights or make your lighting in your buildings more energy efficient, you're reducing a lot of energy and your paybacks are very, very quick.
We're engaged in an initiative with our energy provider, CenterPoint Energy, to convert 165,000 streetlights across the city of Houston to LED technology. That will reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 5%, our energy use by 50% in those streetlights, and save $28 million. We're standing here in the city of Houston's historic Julia Idason Library. It was built in 1926. And people say over and over again, you can't do good energy efficient retrofits of historic buildings. And I'm here to tell you you can. This is now a LEED Gold certified building that Houstonians are falling in love with all over again.
Over 120 buildings have undergone energy efficiency retrofits, and the paybacks are under 10 years. Wind is big in Texas. It's affordable, and it allows us to be a renewable energy leader. We've really undergone I'd say, public transit and transit sharing sort of revolution here. We have 3 new rail lines coming on board. We're expanding our hike and bike trail system by 150 miles. We have the 4th largest hybrid fleet in the nation.
It's good for the planet, but it's also good for the city's bottom line.
We look at energy in 2 ways. We look at it green in that it's green and sustainable, and green in that it saves our ratepayers money. When we do that, we move the ball tremendously ahead on energy and climate. People understand that not only is this great for the environment, but it's great for our pocketbook too. So here in Gresham, we have 8,000 streetlights, and we're turning them all over to LED, and we anticipate that that'll have about a $500,000 a year savings to our ratepayers, plus provide better light and they'll last 67% longer. By the way, that came out of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I mean, that came to just talking to other mayors.
Even here in the Pacific Northwest, solar power works. We get good weather for solar 9-10 months out of the year. So as part of this project, we installed the solar trees right here next to light rail as an artistic expression that also generates power.
This wastewater treatment plant was our largest energy user in the city of Gresham. By the end of this year, we should be at 100%. It should produce 100% of all of the energy it uses right on site.
We're exporting 27% of our power production right now to the grid.
It also saves our ratepayers money to the tune of about $300,000 each year, so it's great investment for this city. That goes back into the general fund. It can either go into parks or to police officers or to fire and emergency services, so the quality of life associated with the revenue that used to be spent here is pretty substantive.
Climate protection is the right thing to do, and it is achievable.
The Mayor's Climate Protection Agreement and signing that was a great step forward. It really gave the municipalities a roadmap forward, and there was no top-down that we see so much from the federal government.
Their Climate Protection Center is a way to concentrate our knowledge and to share with each other as mayors.
And there's no other place that a mayor can go peer-to-peer where people understand exactly what it is they're going through, both in terms of the political challenge to some of these projects, as well as the practical challenge of implementing these programs.
I learn from other mayors every time I interact with them. It's important as mayors to come together and take advantage of the opportunities to learn best practices from each other and to put those best practices into implementation.
The mayors across this country have led, they've innovated, and they're making great and substantive changes to the environment. That's just wonderful to see.